The movie is set in the 16th century. In the opening scene, we are introduced to Tienne, the youngest son of a noble family from the Ayutthaya kingdom. He is currently held captive by soldiers under the command of Lord Rajasena. Tienne appears to be heavily sedated, and he only wakes up when several buckets of water are thrown into his face. The first thing he sees is a group of soldiers armed with thick wooden staves. It becomes apparent that a judgment has been passed on Tienne, and the soldiers are instructed to brutally beat him up. As they get ready to begin the procedure, Tienne gathers all his energy and fights back with his impeccable moves. He takes out many soldiers but eventually gets overpowered and knocked out. After this, Rajasena orders his men to break Tienne's elbows and knees. On the other hand, the village of Kanakone is grappling with an outbreak of illness. A local doctor attends to a few patients, while the villagers claim that the illness is a curse. In order to seek a solution for the same, a master named Bua leads a Buddhist pilgrimage, during which he discovers that the source of the curse is Bodhisankha, the dark mystic, or the devil of darkness. Master Bua then channels the malevolent energy into a single leaf that lands in his hand. After this, he decides to become a monk to fight against the evil forces. Elsewhere, Rajasena is haunted by visions of his deceased predecessor, whom he had poisoned to death in order to take over the throne. These visions torment him, and it becomes clear that Rajasena is suffering from a curse placed upon him by the late king before his death. Later at midnight, Rajasena wakes up, only to discover that there is a fight going on in his courtyard. It appears that some soldiers have come to rescue Tienne from his captivity. But right then, Buddhi arrives out of nowhere and eliminates the soldiers one after another. After witnessing his remarkable combat skills, Rajasena offers to hire him, hoping to secure his services. However, the dark mystic has something else in his mind. He instead suggests removing Rajasena's curse, implying there is a connection between the curse and Tienne. The evil lord believes it right away and orders his men to finish off Tienne. However, just as the executioner is about to strike, a messenger from the Ayutthaya kingdom arrives with a pardon for Tienne, granted by the highest authority in the land. This leaves Rajasena with no choice but to relinquish his prized prisoner. As he shouts in anger, he experiences a sudden hallucination. Rajasena sees his soldiers coming towards him, seemingly to execute him. This frustrates him so much that he snaps back from his vision and impulsively kills one of his soldiers. Meanwhile, Tienne is rushed to the village of Kanakone in order to receive the necessary healing. His beloved girlfriend from childhood, Pim, is assigned to take care of him. But before the healing process can even begin, they come under sudden attack from masked assailants sent by Rajasena. As chaos ensues, a fierce fight ensues between the masked men and the royal messengers. The evil guys quickly gain the upper hand and start assassinating the poor people one by one. But they are eventually thwarted when the remaining messengers team up and fight with all their might. At last, all the masked men are slain, but so are the messengers. In the next scene, we find Tienne lying on a stone bed, his body wrapped in bandages as a testament to the injuries he has sustained. Master Bua, having returned from his meditative state, reveals that Tienne's current state is the consequence of his negative karma from the past. Master Bua then calls upon the entire village so that they can pray together and heal Tienne back to life. The process involves the creation of the sacred Ong Bak Buddha statue, heartfelt prayers offered to the deities, and the administration of herbal remedies. In the midst of all these healing practices, Pim, who is driven by her love and devotion for Tienne, performs an enchanting prayer dance, seeking help for his fast recovery. Thankfully, their combined efforts yield a positive outcome as Tienne regains consciousness. But due to the brutal beatings, he is unable to get up to his feet. At the break of dawn, Tienne drags himself towards a nearby cliff. He wants to commit the unthinkable as he feels hopeless both physically and mentally. But right then, Master Bu arrives at the scene and stops him. He initially scolds Tienne for escaping from his duty of saving the kingdom and its people. Then, he redirects his attention towards the rising sun. Master Bu teaches Tienne a profound lesson, saying that even in the darkest of times, light is ever present, waiting to dispel the shadows. Stirred by these words, Tienne gets motivated to continue living, so he reconsiders his decision. From that day forward, he undertakes a grueling journey. He drags his weakened body to an abandoned temple nestled deep within the woods, and begins self-medication. He also stretches his muscles and contorts his bones in an attempt to get himself back to his feet. As time passes, Tienne's body gradually responds, slowly recovering its strength and resilience. One day, Pim arrives at the temple to see him. She mentions that she missed him a lot, and was praying every day for his recovery. Hearing this, Tienne becomes overwhelmed with happiness, so he asks her for a dance. And after their romantic session, they stand on a rocky cliff, embracing each other. On the following day, Master Bu approaches Tienne and tells him about Dharma, which includes the principles of righteousness, merit, and fulfilling religious and moral obligations. With this lesson in mind, Tienne goes on a transformative journey. He practices some spiritual dancing moves and trains himself to develop a new fighting style by combining martial arts and dance. And as the days pass, he transforms himself into a formidable beast, capable of taking down anyone. Elsewhere, Rajasena pays a visit to Buddhi's ruined castle in order to break free from the curse that has plagued him. However, Buddhi unveils his true nature, revealing that he was the one making him suffer all along. He also mentions that his ultimate goal is to become the new king. Hearing all this, Rajasena becomes enraged, and he commands his men to kill Buddhi. But despite the combined effort of the soldiers, they prove powerless against the formidable dark mystic. Buddhi showcases his extraordinary combat skills, swiftly taking down the soldiers one after another. In the end, Rajasena is left alone, so he clutches his bow and arrow and directs it towards the betrayer. However, before he can take a shot, Buddhi gets to him first and decapitates him. The severed head curses Buddhi just like the previous king had bestowed upon Rajasena, but the dark mystic appears to remain unaffected. Later, he ascends to the throne and seizes control of the kingdom. Now, with only one remaining adversary, Buddhi dispatches his soldiers with the mission of eliminating Tienne. That evening, as Tienne is in the middle of his training, he is unexpectedly confronted by the group of soldiers. They are desperate to kill him and please their new master. However, Tienne has other plans. With the help of his new fighting skill, he takes out the enemy soldiers one after another, without even breaking a sweat. It appears as if Tienne has finally mastered the art of Dharma through tireless dedication and disciplined practice. Following this, Tienne quickly makes his way towards the village of Kanakone only to discover a harrowing sight. The once thriving village now lies in ruins, its streets stained with the lifeless bodies of the villagers. The sight breaks Tienne mentally, and he starts crying like a kid. However, his solitude is disrupted once more as a new wave of enemy soldiers comes running for him. They are confident that they can kill Tienne, but little did they know that they have angered the deadliest fighter in the world. Driven by a burning desire for vengeance, Tienne channels his anger and teaches these soldiers a hard-earned lesson. Once he is done killing them, Tienne performs a final ritual to honor the fallen villagers, paying tribute to their lives. Following this, he meets Master Bua for guidance. The latter gives him a few words of encouragement, and hands him a mystical stick, which is capable of defeating the darkness. Master Bua explains that the stick is the most powerful weapon in the world, and if used properly, it can even summon the gods. Elsewhere, in Buddy's kingdom, we learn that Pim and the remaining villagers have been enslaved. They are compelled to work as laborers in extremely harsh conditions. If they make even the slightest of errors or feel tired, the soldiers mercilessly beat them up with whips. The situation of the royal elephants is even worse. They are brutally killed for the sake of their blood, which is consumed by Buddy to gain extra strength. In the meantime, Tienne arrives at the kingdom, determined to free his people and defeat the enemy. However, Buddy senses his presence and decides to take action. In a shocking display of power and magic, he summons an eclipse, which plunges the kingdom into a state of total darkness. This makes the villagers realize that he is no ordinary man, so they bow before him in fear. Unfortunately, Buddy gets to know that Pim is Tienne's lover, so he quickly grabs her and finishes her off. This is enough to send Tienne over the edge, and in an act of desperation, he unleashes a savage onslaught against the guards. He then tries to kill Buddy, but the dark mystic quickly turns the tables and plunges a spear deep into Tienne's chest, leaving him on the brink of death. As Tienne's light fades away, he remembers Master Bua's teachings, and suddenly the entire battle as well as Pim's tragic demise are revealed to be just an illusion. Now, having been given a second chance, Tienne decides to do things differently. He uses the power of his magical stick to summon the thunder and strike Buddy. This decisive blow shatters the devil's powers, which ultimately causes the eclipse to go away, symbolizing the triumph of light over darkness. As Buddy wakes up from the strike, he is unable to believe that his demonic powers are slowly fading away before his very eyes. Soon, Tienne confronts him and the final showdown between the two finally commences. Here, we see that Tienne is not fighting in anger like he did in his illusion. Instead, he appears to be calm, focusing on his newly acquired skill. At one point during the fight, Buddy launches his spear, hoping he can defeat his opponent once and for all. But to his dismay, Tienne is able to catch it with just his bare hands. After this, the fight continues for a while, and both of them end up on the royal ledge above the arena. They appear to be equally matched when it comes to fighting. But when it comes to concentration, Tienne has a massive advantage. Sensing the environment around them, he cleverly holds Buddy aloft by his chin and drops him over a furious elephant. The animal's tusk breaks and mortally impales Buddy, finally killing him. In this way, the war comes to an end, and the kingdom is finally freed from all evil. The movie ends as we see Tienne, Pim, and the remaining villagers paying their respects to the revered Ong Bak Buddha statue. They are now hopeful or starting a peaceful life, where no evil or curse can disturb them.